Well, Omar is the former Afghan ambassador to Canada, France, as well as Belgium, and he joins us now from Washington. Ambassador, good to have you on the show. My question to you is, if the talks are going to restart, do you think there's going to be any preconditions?
Well, we are talking about the Americans talking to the Taliban.
Yeah.
We are not talking about yet the Afghans talking to the Taliban. As far as the Americans and the Taliban are concerned, we don't know actually if they have preconditions or not. There's no transparency or enough transparency to show whether the conditions that existed before September, as you mentioned, have changed and if there are new preconditions. But what we do know, per Mr. Trump yesterday in Bagram Air Force Base, and what the Taliban have been saying is that they're both ready to formally start talks. Now, this means that there have been talks going on behind closed doors, but informal talks for the past couple of weeks or so. And there are even indications that there may be some kind of a local truce or cessation of hostilities being agreed to in some parts of Afghanistan, which could be a precursor to a broader ceasefire agreement between the Americans and the Taliban, again, not involving other Afghans yet.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, you made a distinction at the beginning of your answer as to sort of the talks between the United States and the Taliban and the Taliban and Afghan talks. How likely is this discussion between the U.S. and Taliban likely to set an agreement on a pathway to direct talks between the Afghan government and the Taliban? Because right now we know the situation.
It's very complicated. When you say Afghan government, there are differences of opinion on that as well. As you know, Afghanistan just underwent very complex and controversial elections. It's been 2 months and there are no results, so we do not know what kind of a government we will have in a few days or longer, or whether this government is going to stay on as a caretaker government. We do not know whether, at the same time, the Taliban are going to agree to the term government at the same time. But what we do know is that the Americans and the Taliban want to pursue and continue the discussions that they had held prior to September. What we do not know is whether they're going to be involved with new conditions and new terms, and what is going to change to the draft, to the final draft that they had initialed, not signed, but initialed before Mr. Trump stopped the train on its tracks. Now, at this point, what the Taliban are saying is that we would like to see an agreement between us and the U.S. first, and then we will engage formally.
All right,
again,
Mr. Ambassador, I do apologize. I want to thank you for your time.